I'm also going to get my mail. Somebody's coming on the way that I need to do.
Call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Mayor Hutchinson, present. Counselor Henderson,
Present.
Counselor Quaid,
Present.
Counselor Hein,
Present.
and Counselor Hagstrom is absent tonight. Thank you. Next, we'll have public discussion for anything that is not listed on the agenda.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure you want to hear from me again.
So, state your name and your address, please.
Lisa Walls, 3861 West Tisher. I just had a couple questions. I was looking at some of the finance minutes and stuff from past and previous council minutes, and I know the last time we talked about like the new fire truck and stuff. I'm just curious as to why our fire department, like other fire departments, doesn't do pull tabs or raffles or anything like that. If that's been looked into as an extra fundraiser for the fire department. And I'm also wondering if anyone's looked into grants for the fire truck.
So, great questions, and Tony, you could certainly help me out with the legalities of this, but we used to do some type of pull tabs gambling years ago. And I have a feeling we will never be able to do that again, correct?
I don't remember for sure.
I believe that's correct.
Was that part of the stipulation for the
Yeah.
fire truck trust? Okay.
And so, to be transparent, many years ago, and this precedes all of us on this council, probably all of us in this room, except for the elderlies at the back. There was, something that had happened with that gambling that came into question. And because of that, all the monies that we had earned at that time were put into a trust. And then we're pretty sure that that ability of being able to get a gambling permit in the future is probably never going to happen because of that. So that trust has been opened up. It's been broken open. We did that several years ago. And we used that to purchase the newest fire truck. And so at least it was able to be used for us. And now that money, it's gone. There's nothing left, but it was a sizable amount. I don't remember exactly the amount, but I'd say 800,000, 800,000. It was quite a bit. As far as grants, we do apply for grants as we can. We have a grant writer that does write grants for the fire department. So far, she's not been successful. And so that's where it's at. So we look for those opportunities, but, I don't know if I can speak to how she's doing them or her success rate. I'm friends with her on Facebook, so I see when she's successful for other cities.
Mhm.
I think that our city that may put us at disadvantage is that we're we don't have the low income requirements that a lot of these other cities have, and I don't know what makes the markers on how they score those, but that isn't in our favor. Tony, do you have any other insight on that, or any of the other council on why we're not qualifying for a lot of those grants?
I think that's the main reason. And then I think grants for fire trucks have really diminished over the years. That used to be a way where a lot of the rural, smaller departments would get them. But the stuff we're seeing out there now is more for protective equipment or smaller grants.
Yes, and that's the piece that we get several of them. We get a lot of smaller grants for equipment and, but still not near enough what we would need to, satisfy all their needs. But it helps.
I was just wondering. Thank you.
Sure.
Building according to West County Road.
I would just a follow up to that. What, you had a bunch in money in the trust, and was that not, we're supposed to do that, or is that why you can't ever do it again, or what?
I think that the reason why I don't think we can get another gambling permit is because of the circumstances that surrounded why that money was put into a trust.
It would have been a violation.
It would,
Would have happened.
yeah, exactly. And so I'm pretty sure that it is a no-go, but you know, it doesn't hurt to ask again.
Well, as
You
you
can
say,
look into it.
it was, the old people probably remember something. I don't remember anything about it, but I'm just saying, maybe if you go there and say,
So-
we'll do it according to what you want.
Okay, so what had happened back in the day is, money that was raised was invested into the stock market. And that was a big no-no.
Oh,
And so that's why I'm saying I highly doubt that we will ever be able to, but it maybe is many years since, and maybe it's worth.
well, the people that decided to do that aren't here anymore, is that correct?
That is correct, but that is not mattering in the eyes of the law. But with that being said, no hurt in checking to see about that again.
So
But I wouldn't hold it
then
for any.
the option for the fire truck to pay, does that come out of the taxes? That's right, like,
You got it. Yes, you and I are paying for those fire trucks.
okay, because I was looking at quite pricey, so
Yes,
thank you.
agreed. So those fire trucks, the fire department, they try to rotate those trucks out so they don't get so old. What happens when they get old is they spend more time getting service. And right when you need them, they're being serviced. And so it's been, hard to put our department in a predicament where they need to respond, but they can't. And so it's been important for those of us on the council to always make sure that those guys have good working equipment. We try to keep them working as long as we can, but we typically look at people that are like 20-some years old, and then it's like, okay, we gotta do something here. And right now, we're on a rotation where we buy something new, we let it age out, and then the next piece of equipment comes up. And so that's what we're doing. So we're not replacing every year, but it's spaced out every so many years that we try
I
to replace.
understand the need, but I know in the last meeting when I asked about four apartments and do you have equipment to do that in the fire chief, that's like, well, just to assure you, we can take care of anything here now. So their equipment, like say they get big tall buildings, you know, we have to get up there. So I'm just asking that question because he had said, well, be assured that we can take care of what's here now, buildings that they're building.
Yes, agreed. So right now, we don't have any buildings that are higher than what our ladder, or not our ladder truck, but our existing, fire truck apparatus can reach those fires. But if we have a multi-level building, that's where the chief is a little concerned because we don't have any equipment that could get up there. We don't have a ladder truck. But we don't have those high buildings right now. So I think that's what he was,
And that's only if you let the high buildings come in, correct?
that is correct. Yes.
We also don't have
Height requirement.
space, we also don't have space for
True.
a ladder truck. Our
Pardon?
current hall is not big enough.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So along with that, our commercial area is looking at being, allowing those higher buildings. We don't have them yet, but it sounds like that is something that, has been talked about. And so if that happens, that's when we have to look for a solution of fire protection for those buildings. One thing that's nice is that it's standard that they come with sprinkler systems, so that helps us, but it's something that we'll have to look at in the future. But yes, they're very, very expensive. Any other questions?
My name is,
You look very sunshine today.
oh, thank you.
You're not wearing red, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I figured maybe I could bring the sun open, unfortunately not. My name is Sarah Spindler and I live at 4497 West Calvary Road. My question is, okay, the gambling thing, but is there a way that we could do a fundraiser?
You can join the auxiliary department They would love to have your help. They're always doing fundraisers.
Okay. So it wouldn't be something that the city could do, it would have to come through the fire department?
The auxiliary is the fundraising arm of the fire department.
Okay, just
So
gonna-
we do our best to, supply them with a budget, but, the auxiliary is what you're looking at.
okay,
And great group of people.
yeah, I know.
You'd be great at it, Sarah, do a big sale for them.
Hey, with church, we raised almost $500 and only 6 of us brought in stuff to sell, so.
That's good, yes.
Yeah, so I figured, hey, if we could get more, we did something like that.
Yes, I would imagine that there must be a way to contact them. You could.
Yeah, I'll check with some of the girls that I know that are on it.
Okay, if you aren't able to find and contact, let me know and I will find one for you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else? Correspondence, none. Okay, next we have the consent agenda. We have the April 7th finance meeting minutes, April 14th council minutes, executed claims from April 15th to April 28th totaling $24,487.92. And then we have a gambling permit for Ducks Unlimited. But there's a restaurant down here, the other place, Barbara. Are there any items you wish to have pulled from the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
No support.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of accepting the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. To department reports, we have the utilities update. Shane, can you present for us? We're struggling a little bit up here. I've gone through 2 of them already.
Want to take this one? Yeah, yours is green. Yeah, mine's good.
Always flashing that battery thing on there.
Are they battery or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, utility report for April. We'll start on the water side of things. MDH water testing, Public Works has completed the first month of the water testing. Testing results were sent to MDH by RNB Laboratories. That is quoted the cost for the bacteria test as $130 per test for a total of $260 per month. Duluth Water Infrastructure surcharge. The bonus that you can see it was attached, was sent to all of the Race Lake water customers as a special mailing last week. A 2024 Consumer Confidence Report, the report provided by MDH for Race Lake is completed and will be submitted this week. The report will be added to the city's website. Notification of the reports available along with a link to the Duluth report will be included on the April utility statements going out this week and on the utility payment portal. Printed copies are also available upon request. Moving on to stormwater, Race Lake, NS4 permit application, part 1. The city has completed the part 1 permit application for the permittees covered under the 2020 MS4 general permit to be sent with a $400 application fee. That MPCA will provide part 2 permit application forms to tentatively planned for late 2025. Sewer side of things, sewer lateral inspection letters have been sent out as part of our I&I program compliance. 31 letters were sent to residences on First Avenue North, Milwaukee Avenue, Chicago Avenue. The focus area last year was First Avenue North. Residents that did not participate last year were sent letters again this year to be completed as one of our focus areas. That was submitted by the lovely Robin Murphy. Any questions?
Did you have any residents calling about this information that was sent out?
No, we haven't, but I'm not sure when they would have received it in the mail, so haven't got it yet.
Yeah.
I've had one phone call today from a resident percent, so some made it to their destination, but
This talks about the part 2 permit application. So there's 2 parts for the MPCA. MS4 process.
It's kind of a new thing that they've started this year. And you can see on the report, it says it's for the 2020 permit, and we are in 2025 right now. So the state has been working on that permit for several years now.
Okay, I see that now.
I believe it's 10-year permit, and then we just kind of do annual renewal type things. So I think that's the one we applied for is the quicker annual renewal, and then the larger one will be coming later. I believe is the difference between the two.
Okay, I remember a few years ago, we had attended, some kind of informational meeting down at, the MPC office in Duluth. They were talking about the water, or not water surcharge, I'm getting my surcharges mixed up. It was some kind of surcharge, that they were thinking about enacting in all cities. Has that ever gone forward, or is that,
I don't believe that ever went forward.
okay? Okay, that is good. That would have increased our permit fee to,
Thousands of dollars.
yeah, it was concerning at the time. Any further questions from the council for Shane? All right, Shane, you might as well stay up there and go through the 2025 sewer and water comparison.
and for March, the water that was billed to customers was $1,262,749. There was one reported fire. Total water consumption was $1,262,749. The water that was billed by Comfort Systems was $1,525,278 for a total water difference of $261,528 or 29, excuse me. The total water bill for the year of 2025 is $3,850,965,000. The water that is not accounted for as a total is $227,000. The water total that was completed was $4,077,965. And the total water bill from Comfort Systems was $4,634,930. With a total water difference of $556,965. Totals for sewer that the city has billed is $1,070,158. Do you want me to go through every single zone reading or do you just want me to?
Just, no, just,
No, that takes a little bit longer, okay. And then total from WLSST is $1,880,700. So the total sewer difference is $810,542. Sewer for 2025 from our side of things billed was $3,231,537. WLSSD for 2025, 4,636,700 for a total sewer revenues of 1,405,160.
Any questions for Shane? Thank you, Shane. Next, we'll move on to council reports. Start.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I haven't done much, this month. We went on a little bit of a vacation, so I did that instead.
Welcome back. Nice. Also,
I really have nothing to report since last meeting.
I don't have a whole lot either, other than attended the P and Z meeting and MIC meeting. And the local board of appeals and which, I'll let you finish up.
okay, I'll finish that
And
one.
I made it to the fire hall for the pancake breakfast with the hit.
Excellent, good. So I have just a couple of things that sound like a lot, but they really weren't. So April 7th, I attended, Public Utility Commission in Duluth regarding the acquisition of Minnesota Power. If you didn't know already, Minnesota Power is currently, publicly traded. And because of that, with the stock market ups and downs, it's been very difficult for them to plan for, their future. And with their goals of clean energy by a certain year, they're very concerned on just being able to afford this costly endeavor that they have to do. And so Tony and I had met with Minnesota Power about a week before that, just to understand what it was. I had no idea that they were going through this process and I didn't know what it meant. So after meeting with Minnesota Power, we were assured that our project on Stebner Road goes ahead. There's nothing that's stopping that project. And they're fully committed as a partner to Rice Lake in regards to that project. And so that was what I was able to speak on, is our long-term partnership and their commitment to Rice Lake. I did stay for most of the public hearing. One thing was for sure is that there was not one negative comment against Minnesota Power. They've been a great community partner. Everybody had great things to say about them. The fear that people have is increased rates, not living up to the contracts that they have promised. Hold on one second, I need a list of loss of employee benefits, loss of being able to connect with the community. There were fears of if there's a choice between Duluth and some other company that one of these CCP, and there's another company, you know, they own lots of companies around the United States. How do we know that we're going to be priority? Great questions. And this was a public hearing, so you don't really hear the answers of how they're going to come through with some of these promises. And so that was, I wish they would have gone into that, but there were so many people. They had like 40 people testifying, and they all took like 5 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever it was. So it was a long evening. Everybody had really good concerns. I would say coming out of there, it was about 50% saying, yeah, you know what, we trust Minnesota Power's judgment. They sought out the best owners that would align to their goals. And then the other 50% were like, we love Minnesota Power. We don't want anything to change. Can you pick a different company that's not Canadian based or that is not owned by BlackRock? And so that's the concerns that are out there in the community. Still, it's hard for me to comment on if it's a good business decision. I don't know, but I do trust that Minnesota Power is still a good partner for Rice Lake, and they have not given us even a second of apprehension. And so I respect that about Minnesota Power. So let me know if there's any questions on that, because that was a lot of information. Okay. On 4/9, Tony and myself, we met real quick with the county to talk about what our branding is gonna look like for our Rice Lake Corridor project. Branding is what kind of emblem are they gonna put on stationery? Or if they have a presentation, what are they gonna use? So that was just kind of a fun thing. 4/15, attended planning and zoning. I just want to give a quick kudos to Carly for putting together some great material. She really brought in some back to basics planning and zoning information that it's good for all of us to relearn. And then there's some new people on the planning and zoning that probably hadn't been part of that, so it's good to learn that. So Carly did a good job presenting. And then on April 22nd, I drove to Winton, Minnesota. If you don't know where Winton, Minnesota is, WINT, Ely, and that's where the county board meeting was held at last week. So if you remember last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't remember now, 2 weeks ago, last Tuesday, how the time goes. Our last time that we had met, we had passed the ordinance, the council had supported for a grant for 20,000 to complete the pavement work on Stavanger Road. And so I took that to the county board meeting and spoke on that a little bit. And of course, we had full support. And then on April 23rd, we did the local board of equalization meeting. We did not have a quorum of the council that evening. So what that means is that the county now will hold an open book meeting for Rice Lake. So open book means that if a resident wants to question their estimated market value, we will not be determining that for you. It will be strictly the county. And so it's still kind of the same process, but a little more in-depth is what I understand. You won't be coming to Rice Lake, you'll be visiting the county at the county level. So we lose our what's our status? We lose our what? What do you call it? Just local board, we'll call that for 2 years. So this year was year 1, next year is year 2. If we wish, we can apply back for that by February of 2027, if we wish. 2027 is also the next time that Rice Lake will have a full evaluation of our city. And so we'll have a couple years to think about it. No residents showed up for this evening. So a very quiet evening. So that is all that I have. Are there any questions for anybody? Right, we will move on to new business. We have an MS4 permit public comment.
Yes, so part of the permitting process is we have to allow once a year for public to comment on our MS4 permit and just the different parts that go into that process. Grab my book here. So the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency authorizes the discharge of stormwater associated with small municipal separate storm sewer systems. So that's where the MS4 comes from, is the separate storm sewer systems. So basically, as far as Rice Lake is concerned, that is either our storm sewer that we have in 2 of our roads.
The catch basin.
Yep, and the catch basins.
First Avenue, South, on Chicago, are the main ones.
Yep, and then any roadway ditch that is on a city road is also considered part of our MS4 system. Time for public to comment on that.
Okay.
And those are also like the culverts as in like old falls, like the big box culverts, the Gulf Streams, all the big ones that fall in that category.
Okay.
So Rice Lake Dam, the Cooper Road, all the big hitters, is what they're stuff basically.
Okay. So can anybody explain to me what what does it mean? If we see something, spilling into or near that area, what does it mean? What's our action plan?
So that would be considered or could potentially be what they call an illicit discharge. So you could either call 911 or just call City Hall here and then,
We have duty officer that we report to.
Yep. yeah.
Who's your duty officer?
I'd have to look up the gal's name. I've never had a call since I've been here. So
Okay.
I do have.
And can anybody from the city, or is it just city staff that calls?
And that, call City Hall. So I'm sure they can Google it. So you call anybody from the state of Minnesota to report it.
Okay, and so this MS4 process, we are an MS4 because of those storm sewer, storm basins, roadway ditches, or the box culverts, like what Shane said. So that's what makes us have an MS4. So is it any concerns that are near these areas, or is it throughout the entire city that you'd have to report us illicit discharge?
Sure. Most of it is based on the state's looking at platted areas or more dense areas is really where, which makes some communities fall into it and others do not. So some of our surrounding townships are MS4 communities and some aren't. So, there's only a portion of the city that is actually in the MS4 area, but we have adopted an ordinance that covers the whole entire city. So we treat everything the same. So, yeah, doesn't matter where it's happening. If it's something in a county ditch, so anything like, Easton Road, Rice Lake Road, then the county is responsible. We're not responsible for city roads.
Okay.
So if we see something get spilled in the ditch that runs in front of my house or whatever, we should report it to you. Like say somebody's, a lot of oil got spilled or something.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all considered the runoff, whatever.
Yeah, I would say anything that is not water. It's got green bubbles, definitely.
Sewage, oil, anything.
And that's talking about the ditches that run in front of our house and, okay.
Yep. Anything that could potentially make its way to a stream is the purpose of this permit to protect those.
Any questions regarding the MS4 process or? That concludes the end of the public comment. Then we have an AYSA contract for the park. This is a park rental agreement for, I'm assuming, the same soccer team that
Yeah.
does this every.
Yeah, the Arrowhead Youth Soccer Association.
Thank you. And I see a total of, did I see 2,000 in there? Has that been the same consistently throughout the years, or did that raise?
We raised it a couple of years ago, last year or 23.
Yeah.
one of those two.
Raised a little bit. Okay, but this is held since that raise? Okay. I think as far as the council's been concerned, these are kids. We want to try to keep it financially, appropriate for them, I guess you could say, keeping it low as well we can, but yet we have to do upkeep on this field. And so what we have is a mutual agreement for the premises. Annually. Agreement does not include painting of any lines or maintenance on goals. It must be just strictly just to use the fields. That's it.
Is there a limit on how many hours they can use it or what night of week they're using it, or do we have anything like that?
No, we don't. Usually we try to get some sort of schedule or at least the season or practices are starting around this time and ending around this time, just so when we're mowing, we're not there when they're there. And so,
Well, then I think if anybody from Rice Lake wants to go and use the fields, it'd be nice to know if there was a schedule where it's open and.
No, nothing that they share with us. And I can ask again if they, I was gonna say, I don't think they use it for games, but I think they do actually.
Yeah.
Games.
They used to.
I think they do, yeah.
Any further discussion regarding the AYSA contract for the park? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Yes. Park rental agreement, with AYSA.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving this contract for the, park, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Passed. To the 2025 utility truck purchase.
All right, so this would be for the updated truck, for Justin, for water and sewer, both combined. His truck is over 10 years old now, so to try to stay on that 10-year marker, basically. To, obviously, for upgrades, for, just the wear and tear on the vehicles, this truck is starting to slowly deteriorate. Also, we use it for plumbing, which doesn't help, but it depreciates. The crane that's currently on that truck is not sized appropriately for what we need. We can't lift any of our pumps out of our lift stations, which with this upgrade, with the upsized crane would allow us to be able to lift all of our pumps for just routine maintenance, for changing them, burping pumps and whatnot, safely and efficiently. And we're obviously down the road, it would save thousands of dollars not having WW Getch and then coming up every single time you need a pump removed or replaced, or we can pull pumps through the maintenance or pull pumps and haul them down and get them replaced or repaired. Every single time. Just in itself with that, it would be worth it. Just keeping on that 10-year marker is a good thing for anything, even infrastructure, is to keep it up. Every 10 years to keep on that marker. It saves the city money. Is what I'm looking for. The truck, the toolbox will be purchased all together as one whole from with City Motors. The box and the crane will all be installed locally to Riddis Trailer Sales. Scan, I think that is ASCO. This is where that's actually located. We stayed quite a bit under budget, just about $7,000 under what I originally budgeted for. It was about $125,000, so 62.5 out of water, 62.5 out of sewer. With the total coming in at 118, 11.24, so it gives us roughly 7,000 total for safety strobes and little.
This is included in your budget already.
Yes, yep, this was budget for this year. Yep.
That's great. I appreciate that you had mentioned that the crane is the appropriate size
Yes,
for the truck. I know sometimes those trucks get really loaded down and
that's kind of what that's kind of what it is right now. It's simple. And this would not be used as a plow to vehicles, it would be strictly utilities. So the 1 ton that currently is going to be stripped down and made lighter. So it's not quite as heavy as it actually plow.
okay, so we keep his current truck, make it.
Yeah, it's not in that rough shape, so that way he can still currently plow what he needs to plow his lift stations. He's not smacking this thing. Strictly utilities based. And it can be used for more than just utilities. We take snow plow equipment off, like the wing on the grader, things like that. It's the same thing, so I would save money there. Ziegler comes with it. Utility charger maintenance truck that we're using to pick off all the stuff. We've done it before, but it's dangerous. You use either a loader or whatever, and you sling it with straps and use cable. Gotta, get basically lift it off of there. This way you can center the roll, take everything off safely. And, you know, don't your way with it. The backhoe or whatever you're using in reverse, trying to back away, have it swing it out. So it'd make it a lot better for that too. So it would be used for multiple different situations.
Any questions from the council?
Chris from Wood City Motors is here. If you guys had any questions for him, he's here if you want to ask him.
Maybe he just wants to talk to the council.
So I am Josh with Wood City Motors. That's all good. So yeah, so we came up with a couple different options for you guys to choose from. The first one we came up with was a body coming from a vendor out of the metro called Christ Steel. That would have had a Liftmore 4,000 pound crane on it. That body is literally just a body and a crane, no accessories, no nothing in the body. That quote came in, get to it here, well, 125, 456, 69 cents. Versus the body coming from Wittes Trailer Sales, which is gonna have a Tiger crane on it. That one there, total, as he had mentioned, 118, 011, 24. That body will be outfitted with actual toolbox trays and inserts in the body itself to where you can actually put tools in there and have them organized so they're not flopping around, everything like that. The Christ Steel body, like I said, would not have any drawers in it. It'd be, you open the door, it's an open cabinet, you gotta figure it out. So being that the CM body from Wittes came in so much less, we decided to put the tool trays and stuff like that in there to kind of help you guys get a leg forward on upfitting it. So it's ready to roll when it shows up, put your strobe lights on it, put it to work. So it should be pretty well ready to go. Estimated time on the chassis itself, we're looking roughly 90 days to get chassis on the ground. And then for the outfit, we're gonna order the body at the same time. So I'd say maybe another month to get the body on the truck delivered and ready for you guys to use. So you're looking roughly 4 months for the complete delivery.
I noticed that you're pronouncing it Christ Steel.
So the company out of the metro would be Christ Steel Truck Equipment. That is the higher of the two quotes. The second one is CM Bodies. That is the vendor for them is Wittes Trailer Sales. They are out of Esco. So we partner with them for different bodies and different things. So we would get the chassis delivered to us, literally drive it over there. They outfit it. If we were to do the Christ Steel body, we'd have to drop ship it into the metro. They outfit it, and then we gotta pay to transport it up and all that stuff. So it's gonna add to the cost, and just feasibly, it's a little harder to do than to work with the local companies, so.
Sure. You pronounced it Christ Steel. So I grew up in southern Minnesota and we pronounced it Chris Steel.
Yes, Chris Steel Truck Equipment, Christ Steel. I'm a Chris Steel, Christ Steel, tomato, tomato. Same company.
At our last truck.
Yeah. Chris Steel Truck, Christ, yeah.
Okay, any further questions for Chris?
Did I see a trade in
Josh.
on it?
Yeah, there is a trade.
Cause aren't we keeping the old one?
No, that's sold it. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Thanks.
You did say we're turning the old one into a plow truck.
Yeah, so there is a 2000 Ford F-450 with a dump body in it that,
It's, yeah, old, the one they call, that's the one we were looking to get rid of.
Oh,
yeah, it's not used very much in really rough shape. So we are doing a trade on that for you guys.
and how much was that trade?
The trade value is $5,000.
That's already in the 118.
Yep, that is in there as a total, so. And with that, add 6.875% to that, because it's gonna take that much off of your sales tax as well, so. And in the end, you're actually getting a little more than $5,000 because you save sales tax on top of purchase price or the trade price. Takes that off your total purchase. So,
Shane, you're happy with this truck? It'll do everything.
The one spec, oh, yes.
Yep.
Any further question? Thank you. Bill.
Absolutely.
Chris, right?
Josh.
Josh.
Yeah. Chris Steele.
Chris, yeah. Josh. All right.
Send me a new.
So moving along, we have the agenda items report, the purchase for a truck, $118,011.24. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll move to approve purchase of the truck from 118-11-24.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor of going ahead with the truck from Wood City Motors for the amount of $118,011.24, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, next, moving on, we have a nuisance enforcement officers and admin penalties, resolution 25-11. Appointing nuisance enforcement officers. Tony, what's the background of this?
So we had updated our nuisance ordinance a couple of years ago, and within there, we changed it that city council has the authority to enforce the nuisance ordinance. Which is why we have brought a couple properties in front of council to go down that route. As Carly and I were talking, and with springtime, she's been receiving lots of calls, complaints about properties. So, also within the nuisance ordinance, it allows council to appoint someone to be that, officer, is that the term? Yes, the nuisance enforcement officers. So we are just proposing that council appoint Harley and I collectively, so that means she'll gather the information, bring it into me, and then we'll discuss together whether or not it meets the definition of a nuisance. Then that would give us the authority to issue nuisance citations. If the citation, the nuisance does not get abated, it would still come back to council if we wanted to go any further with court proceedings or anything like that. It just allows us to issue the nuisance violations.
What failed with our current process of bringing it back to the council, letting us decide?
I think it was partly just timing, having to wait weeks for a council meeting in order to present it. And then also just the having to present everything in a public forum with everyone getting all of the information at the same time. Just thought process that it would be better if we could do it internally.
So just you and Carly have the power to do this, decide this nuisance thing on people's properties? Is that it?
Sarah's getting excited about it, dear. Sylvia, just come to the mic and state your
Okay.
question, please.
I just have a question. I was wondering what the nuisance was, is it dirty yards or junk in their yards? Is that what it is? Is that what a nuisance?
It can be, yes, it could be barking dogs, it can be, animal waste. I mean, there's a lot of, things that can fall under that nuisance ordinance.
Okay, so if you two were doing it, then would you be handling all of that then, or would you bring it back to the council at some time, or is that going away? Or is that what you used to do? I don't know.
We're discussing whether we want to give up this process that we're currently doing and having it handled internally with the city staff. And so we haven't decided on it yet, but that's what we're talking about right now.
So just one more question. If you decide someone's as nuisance? Do you give them notification before you start imposing penalties or
Yep.
anything?
Yeah, there's, we would follow the ordinance, but we would have to make sure that whatever the nuisance is clearly listed in the ordinance itself, and then there's a process for notification and anything else that goes along.
Okay, because I read that. What is nuisance? And thank you.
Sure. Any further questions or comments from the council?
I kind of like the idea. I don't see that council needs to get involved in every bad yard out there or dogs barking, that type of thing. I just don't really see that the full council needs to take up time with that at a council meeting. I think having that involved in just our administrative office is fine. I like that before they would move it forward to any legal action, that would come back to us. But as far as sending out citations or fines that fall within the ordinance that we have already approved, I think that's just fine.
And so the process would look like, city staff would find these nuisances somehow, whether it's our own officers driving around town or a neighbor or somebody else would complain. And then you guys would talk internally and decide whether to send them a citation. And then they get a citation, they clean it up, yay. If they don't, then what?
Well, that's where we're kind of going into the next resolution that is before you, which is why I kind of have them together. The administrative penalties. So what we've learned through the years, again, zoning violations. If we're trying to go after people with a zoning violation, the courts don't really support that, which is why we adopted a nuisance ordinance, because the courts will actually uphold nuisance ordinances. But in addition to that, we have an administrative fine policy or ordinance, which then allows us to assess administrative fines on any violation of any of our ordinances. So the thought process is we give them, in the nuisance ordinance, I believe it's 30 days to abate the violation. And if they don't, then we can impose the administrative fines. Nuisance is abated.
And then would these come back to the council?
The only time they would come back is, at the end of the year, if we're looking to assess them on their property taxes. So the resolution 25-12 is just raising those penalty amounts. Right now, I believe they're 200 and then. Which we had set 2018, I believe.
And so once again, a citation would be delivered to the homeowner without the council's knowledge or input, as well as the administrative fine would move forward without the council's knowledge.
Yep.
No finger on this at all.
Correct, yep. According to the administrative ordinance, the code compliance officers are any officer of the St. Louis County Sheriff's Department, any employee of the city of Rice Lake, or any person or company contracted to provide code enforcement services by the Rice Lake City Council. So the process would be, we receive the complaint or Carly goes out and notices it. Comes back and, we discuss it, then we send out an initial warning letter, in essence, saying, hey, this, you're in violation of whatever ordinance it may be. And then if it falls in the nuisance one and they haven't abated it, then we would send out an actual nuisance violation, giving them 30 days to clean it up. And then after that would come the administrative fine.
Can I ask a question? If this all kind of stems from like a previous zoning and courts not listening to zoning, so you adopted the nuisance, wouldn't it be more of an officer, in a zoning capacity that would be the person that should be the officer enacting the nuisance? Does that make sense? That was kind of.
Why don't you come up to the mic, Lisa, and restate your question? I did not.
Yeah, it was kind of a big circle. I'm sorry. So if it really is a zoning issue and courts aren't taking zoning seriously, but they'll take nuisance seriously, hence we adopted the nuisance and kind of stepped away from the zoning. Wouldn't it make more sense to have someone on the zoning and planning be the officers in charge of the nuisances, since it's kind of really in that realm technically?
Harley is our zoning officer, so that's why she would be involved. And I'm overseeing of all of the ordinances within the city.
Do you guys feel like you have an awful lot of duties between the two of you?
We do, but part of our job.
But it would be, you get the notice, and I'm guessing after a conversation at previous meetings about other things, it'd be a certified letter to that person, so you can guarantee received.
It depends. One is certified, one is not, according to the ordinances.
So you're saying the first one is probably not, and the second one would be? So they have, or which is which? Which one goes certified, which one goes?
The admin one is just by delivery, United States First Class Mail.
Because I would think it would be in the best interest of the city to send them both certified. But that's just my side comment.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. And I think, as far as the operations of that are handled by city staff, I'm not ready to get into that quite yet. I guess my concern is it's something that is an important process. And I understand that they come to the council and we talk about them, but we talk about them as a team. If there's something that we need to do to protect those discussions where maybe we're not giving out that address or being more discreet about that. But I'm not ready to give up that process and just hand it off to the city staff. I think it's a well-intentioned, and I understand where this is coming from, where you talk about it and it's on the owl camera, it's in front of everybody, and it's demeaning for those properties. But that's why I would suggest that we could handle them more discreetly. I'm not comfortable with giving up that process. But I certainly understand it. If you guys outvote me and move forward with it, I would certainly understand it.
Do you have any suggestions on how to do it more discreetly?
Well, the last time we had one, we gave out an address and there were pictures. Of course, the pictures help, of course, but the address could have been concealed. We didn't last time published. But that's what I would suggest. But I certainly understand city staff's wanting to move forward with these. We meet twice a month. I can't imagine though that any pressing matter, boy, if they clean that up by the time your next council meeting comes about, hallelujah, it's cleaned up. But any delay on that part, I'm not sure if I understand the rush. Any other discussion on this? If not, we'll move forward with the vote. I will entertain a motion.
Both of them?
You know what, thank you, Counselor Quaid. Let's begin with the resolution 25-11 first. We will vote on these separately. 25-11, I'm looking for a motion. Thank you.
What are you motioning
To approve, okay,
to approve the nuisance enforcement officers?
thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? 25-11? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Aye. Resolution 25-12, establishing administrative penalties. So we have, major penalties, $500 for utility violations, zoning violations, and nuisance violations. Minor penalty, $100, animal control violations. Any discussion on this resolution?
I think they seem fair.
Yeah, this hasn't been raised since 2018. I think that's okay to do.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass 25-12.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting resolution 25-12, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? We'll move on to the security camera at the water tower. We have an estimate from Duluthia Networks for the final number, $1,793.25. Now, this is at the water tower. You'll present? Okay, thank you.
So, this thing died again.
We got 3 more up here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I'll just try not to. So moving forward, eventually, we're gonna be forced to have some sort of security or camera system up there. I had previously last year been to some trainings in St. Cloud with the Minnesota Rural Water. And Homeland Security was at that training, and all of the water supply, stuff that cities have, they gotta have cameras, everything's locked, gates and all of that. We don't have anything other than a locked gate that somebody could probably climb over. No cameras inside or outside of anything up on that property. So that's where this is coming from, to just get ahead of the game and just have something installed. We have charter and stuff that's right there already. Over time, if we have CTC come up that way, we could switch to that in the future. That is what this is about right here. We're gonna install the conduit from the water tower over to the pole that's already existing, that's there. And then Duluthien will install everything else from there.
There's money in the budget for this.
Yeah,
And so this isn't mandated yet, but it's a wise idea.
it's going to probably very soon. It's best to have it in. If something was to happen, somebody put something in your water system.
Yeah.
Would they have to climb the water tower in order to do that?
Yes. They would have to do this. They get inside.
Very easy.
We do, this will also cover communication tower, so, which will help if a telecom company is in there authorized, and then we find damage later, and with security footage to back up our claim, but,
Or installing equipment.
right, yeah.
This is on top of the water tower.
This will it'll be access, I'm not sure where exactly it's gonna be quite yet, but I'll see anybody that comes up the driveway through the gates and accesses the inside of the park. So it'll cover the whole parking lot, the entrance as they drive up. And basically the whole parking lot in the front where you walk into to access the water tower. That's all.
Will you be able to access all this stuff on your phone or on laptop or something.
Well, yeah,
Okay, yeah, we're good.
yeah, I would assume it would be tied into all
Yeah.
the same security stuff that's here.
Yeah.
All recorded.
And we do currently have alerts on our cameras already, so Shane and I get alerted if there's after hours activity, so.
With sound test.
Yeah,
So,
we can do the same, but
and is it motion controlled?
Yeah, it's yeah, so you can set your perimeters and the times and within the work hour.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not gonna be on other. Say, after hours, so from 4:30 to 7:30, if it goes off, there's somebody that's there that's probably not supposed to be.
that's just the alerts. The cameras will be recording 24/7.
Still recording.
Oh, sorry.
What's the backside of that look like? Is it just fenced?
Yeah, it's fenced all the way around.
Fenced all the way
Barbed wire.
All
Barbed
wooded?
wires and stuff.
No. Any further discussion from the council? I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Shane. I'll entertain a motion for the security cameras at the water tower.
I'll make a motion. Routine networks.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the security cameras at the water tower, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Next, we have an MPCA grant agreement for generators. This is a grant agreement from MPCA for lift station generators. That must be why you're staying up there, Shane.
Yes, it is. Correct. So this is another thing that's long overdue. I don't think there's a city or us even township, Pike Lake even has them by the golf course there at their lift station. They have the backup generator power. They're standalone. You have towable generators and standalone ones. This would be super beneficial for Rice Lake to have in emergency cases. They'll be all on auto switches, so as soon as the power goes off, they switch over and they fire up. Just like the ones you see at Sam's Club and schools and all of them for their coolers, obviously. It saves them hundreds of thousands. So,
Tell us what you do right now when the power goes out.
basically, you stand there all night long and direct suck trucks to come and suck your sewer out of your lift stations. If they can't keep up with it, it's basically gonna overflow or you have to pump it over. That's where you get to call it in. Yeah, so it's well worth it and why we ever do. And
Now,
I've done a little bit of work, but nothing. Robin has put a lot of time and energy into this grant, which is super, super nice for the city to get.
now, how many pumps is this?
Five in total. So we have the new Rice Lake lift station, puts us at 5 total lift stations.
Is what we have. We
Correct.
have 5 total, and this covers all 5 of them.
All 5.
Okay,
And there's a portable station as well.
okay.
So in case something goes down with that, we don't have access to power for our pumps to fill the water at the water tower, then we'd be able to pull it up there, hook it up, fire it up and feed the water tower with water.
And I thought I saw a total dollar amount of this grant, but I don't.
It's 227,
9:30.
Oh, there it is. $227, $913.30 is a grant that Rice Lake has received from the MPCA.
correct, yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah, we
This
just
is really
kind of, for years, we talked about a portable generator. And then as Shane was looking into it, we're like, well, if it's in that area, then you're moving from 1 to 2, back and forth.
Well, you have to have 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're portable, so they're triple the amount of money because you have to have all the emissions on them with diesel exhaust fluid and everything like that. So the price, it was literally like double. One of the towables was like 80,000, I think, and some of these standalones were like 35. Yeah. With all the emissions and stuff added on the towable.
Sure. So do these, are they exposed or do they tuck in? Do you have to bury them?
They have a hard covers over. They have the panels and then the doors you open up to actually get to the generator itself.
Well, good job, all of you guys, for working on this. And I know Robin, she's not here tonight, but make sure she knows that the council is very happy with her work. This, I know that you guys been working on this for a while and this is fantastic. All right, so then the next piece that we have is the quote for the generator, which, we're looking at the 2025 quotes, right, Tony? $246,507.
Yep.
And so I think we're short just a little bit, correct?
With the grant itself. Yeah, you're asking.
Yeah, between the grant and.
Yeah. Yep, and I was trying to look in the grant itself. I don't remember if it was an 80-20. And so there is a portion that
That
it's
we have
not,
to,
yeah,
okay,
it's not
so
allowed to be funded.
so then that's okay, we're just gonna do a little bit that.
Yep.
Okay. So if we approve this now, is that okay? That's the full intent of this, or is this, just to accept the grant? And we'll discuss the shortage later.
We can do it all at once. Once you.
Okay. And as far as the shortage, do we have money to cover us? Mike is coming up with
I
about.
think we're about 19 grand unless it's an 80-20 on the green.
I believe, Shane, was that budgeted for this year, the match portion for the grant?
So, yes, the project is hopefully gonna start this fall, early fall, depending on the lead time with the generators and whatnot, so.
Okay, that's even better, yeah.
I think it was worked into the 25 to run launch budget.
Even the amount that we're short.
Yes.
Okay. That was
Yeah,
in
me
there.
and Rob, yeah, it was worked.
Okay.
Great, I like that. That makes this piece so much easier. You know, hey, this has been talked about a year in
Well,
advance.
cause yeah, it was last year is when I first originally started that with generator contractors and stuff. It took this long for that grant, so I had to read that goal, get new quotes and start getting that whole year. There was a little bit of off balance because the prices went up a little bit. So some, but we planned for it.
I like that. Great job, all of you. All right, we'll move forward with, an approval for the grant agreement, as well as the generator quote for $246,507.
I'll make the motion to approve the grant agreement from MVCA as well as the generator quote.
Thank you. And Tony, do we need to throw in the 19,000 to cover the, match?
I don't believe so, since it's in the budget.
In the budget, okay. All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting both the grant agreement and the quote, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? Passed. Nice.
That's good work.
All right, unfinished business, capital improvement plan updates. We have our CIP is the acronym of the evening. And you'll have to make sure and blow this up nice and big. I did see that you've got some items on here, remove question mark. Some you're still discussing. Tony, what do you want to bring to light on the CIP?
So really everything in red is kind of up for discussion. And then, or just an update for council at this time. Mark did his updates in blue, so that's what we'll be looking at is the red and the blue on here.
Okay, well, I would definitely say anything that Mark, if he said, hey, let's get it out, we would follow his advice on that. So what is left? We have, environmental trails, develop environmental trails through the Senate properties in conjunction with DNR. I can see why we're considering removing this because the council did vote to let that property go. It is happily owned by other homeowners that can take care of that property and use it to its fullest. And so I myself would agree to remove. Yeah,
Agreed.
okay, good. And next one, okay, we have a completed by the fire department for replacement of 25 to 30 sets of individual member turnout gear. So it's completed, it's in red. We'll pass that one. Okay, so we have a new laydown yard. New laydown yard at Public Works west of building. Are we removing this because we're using a laydown yard on Schultz Road or?
Well, so Shane and I were talking about this one. I don't know if this was on here prior to us even talking about the addition. 'Cause now that the addition is there, we don't really have room for. a
Okay.
laydown.
Let's take it off then.
So I just wasn't quite sure if anybody else remembered
No,
the background on that.
no, not remember. Okay, so everybody all good with that one?
Yeah.
Being removed? Okay, so next we have, Second Avenue North, Homecroft Lane rebuild. Rebuild Second Avenue North and Homecroft Lane completely, road bed, curb and gutter, blacktop. Grant money is available through the DNR watershed system because all drainage flows downhill directly into ditch 14, Tisher Creek. This money can be used for drainage. And we have 2027, 2028. I know this is one that previous mayor John Warner had started. We have flooding issues on that side of the town and it creeps into Second Avenue North and the Homecroft Lane area. And so the current road system there now is very poor. The utilities need to be redone, and at the same time, we're hoping to do a complete reconstruction of Second Avenue North and Homecroft Lane. Doesn't have a question mark on that one, so it looks like you just put a date in there. I think we can keep that date in there as we move forward with the ditch 14 discussions. We'll see once what happens.
There's a ditch 14 meeting this Friday.
Is that this Friday already? Yes. Okay, so for those in the audience, there's a 911 sign replacement that Mark had considered removing. That would put 911, brand new 911 signs at everybody's doorsteps. I know I'd asked Mark one time if he thought that would be beneficial, and he's like, we can find these homes without the fire posts, the 911 signs. So he, at that time, wasn't in favor of it. And I would agree, it's very expensive to do this. And so I'm glad he wants to remove that. All right, we'll move on to Cooper Road, approach to Eagle Lake Road rebuild, Cooper Road, approach to Eagle Lake, subcut rebuild and blacktop. This is partially complete. Thank you, Shane. You're a popular guy tonight.
Glad you're here.
Last week, I talked with Matt Byer and Scott,
Steve Crasway.
or Steve from the county. He's the resident engineer. At first, they weren't sure what I was talking about, but that project is scheduled for 2026 for Eagle Lake in between Tisher and before you get to the hill of Eagle Lake that goes up where we would go to actual Eagle Ridge and Eagle Crest. So it's that section in between where Cooper Road goes down. They did the culverts last year. And then something happened, funding, there's some fallout, they didn't end up paving it, so that's now gonna be in 2026. They're gonna do 100-foot, they were only gonna do 50-foot. I spoke to them, they asked, well, how much do you want? I said, well, what is my options? And they said the max is 100-foot apron that they do. So they'll do 100-foot and then we'll extend it another 250 from the 100 just before you go. So it'll be a total of 350 feet.
Okay, is this any section of Eagle Lake Road, part of that road that we just took over as a city, or is that different Eagle Road?
That's Eagle Ridge.
Eagle Ridge, that's Eagle Lake, thank you.
Yep.
So it would actually be on Cooper Road. So Cooper Road is our road, but the county's doing Eagle Lake Road.
Okay, I see.
So that's where they would usually pave.
A little bit, and then we're saying go a little bit more. Okay.
So they'll extend it to 100 feet. That process was in the mix before I even started. Whatever happened with the company, it never happened. So
But we pay for it?
we will pay for the extra 250 feet, correct?
Okay, and why do we need that extra?
It'll be super nice to work, basically, any entrance on the block. The more you can blacktop, the better. As maintenance wise.
Okay, so this would hold the integrity of Cooper, not Cooper Road, Eagle Ridge Road,
It'll be the integrity of Cooper,
Cooper.
yes, off of Eagle Lake. Eagle Lake is the company, Cooper is yours. And that section that is gonna be blacktopped, that was already basically, it was dug up and redone, that whole section. That was already budgeted for and in the process before I started also. I was there watching it when it happened, the summer of, 2023. And it's already been done. That was in preparation for the blacktop. The blacktop never happened. Because the cone was there. So this would have already been done. If it wouldn't.
And so what makes this extension any different than, say, by my place, I've got Rudder Road and it's just bumped out a little bit of an apron. What's the difference between this road and?
The same thing would happen to that section if the county was repaving. Probably jump on the same bandwagon and try to get that to extend it out as far as they can. If we have money budgeted to extend it as far as you can, then extend it out. I would assume that's what was John's theory on that. He was in the mix of this when it came up. The county was already there doing all the blacktopping. They had everything there. Just extend it over there. It's cheaper to do it that way versus us paying for it out of our own pocket, having the equipment fees and everything for them to come and pave it. They already have all that there. So
How much will it
just
cost?
in half. That's all gonna get sent to you guys. Eventually I'll get it right up in the comments.
Okay,
Yeah.
From the county.
It'll come back to you.
Yep.
okay, any guess, like, are we talking 25 grand? Maybe 200?
It might be less than that. I think it'll be less than that. Just because the dirt work's already done. There's no proper dirt work to be
Okay,
done. If you had to like excavate and redo it all, it would probably matter.
is this in our budget?
It will be for 2020.
Oh, right, the year out,
It'll
okay.
be for 20.
Alright.
Yep.
Thank you. Any further questions from the council on that? Right, so next we have Bryan Road Utilities. Oh, no, sorry. First Avenue South connections. Connect all utility customers on First Avenue South to Rice Lake that are presently Duluth customers to be reviewed. Time on that one?
Yeah, this was one that, John Werner had put on the list. But as we're digging into it, there's a significant section that would have to be installed in order to make that happen. And we're just not sure that it would be beneficial to Rice Lake and or the residents. So if you happen to talk to anybody on First Avenue South, as they really want it, then
Give them the bill.
exactly.
All right, we'll leave that one alone for now. Then we have a Howard Extension and Howard to West Tisher, extend water line up Howard Giddison Road to West Tisher Road. And it is a removal for now.
Yeah, kind of the purpose of this plan is 5 to 10 years out. I don't know that we would ever get to extending water up Howard Giddison Road.
Not at this time, but maybe we'll bring it back in the future.
Right.
Okay. All right, I like that. Remove for now. Okay, then we have utility truck for, oh, look at that. That's,
Look at that.
Oh,
Type.
we can move that to, almost completed.
Almost complete.
All right, then we have home cropped area sewer and water extension, extend water and sewer to Charles Fair Willard to include road reconstruct Date needed 2029, estimate of 7.5 million. It says it'll provide residents with safe drinking water and replace failing septic systems in an effort to reduce contaminated surface water reaching nearby rivers and streams. It says date needed 2029. That's like 4 years from now. And what is prompting this one?
This one has been prompted by a couple different things. We have received calls over the years of people just wondering if the city was gonna extend sewer or water down those roads. And it's kind of always been city policy to only if the neighborhood petitions for it. This is one area where we were looking a little bit more intently on it, just because when people hear that and then they decide to go ahead with their septic system, then that kind of, puts them on a clock for, at a minimum, 9 years for deferral, generally septics are 20 years. And just the amount of calls that we were getting on that was kind of the, if we keep pushing it out, then it's gonna kind of be a mess, because at one point, the other side of that is there are a lot of septics that are non-compliant in that area. Not necessarily failing, but they don't meet the current county requirements for septic systems. The soils in that area, on some parcels, obviously not the full roads, but, are not good for septic systems, so some people may not have alternate sites for septic systems. So we wanted to just kind of get ahead of it and again, see, is this something that makes sense for this area? Can we get funding to support it? Again, with the ditch 14 and, some of the testing from the streams that have gone on in that area, there is E. coli reported. Where exactly it is, I don't know that has been determined yet. So, kind of wanting to get on some of these lists to see, for the water infrastructure, the sewer infrastructure. As there's more need, then that helps move us up the list in order to get additional funding. So, we have talked to a couple different grant agencies, and this is kind of one of the first steps, is we wanted to get council buy-in opinion on it. Obviously, if there is no appetite for it, then we will just continue to tell people in that neighborhood. So sewer and water probably is not ever coming there. All of those roads, because we just have, so right now we're looking specifically Charles, Fair, Willard. Also kind of looking at Kingston and Luzerne. Probably more so for water than sewer. But when we were doing the water modeling, and as we're gonna hopefully start the sewer modeling, they're kind of all discussions that we've had with the engineers, just to see what makes sense. So we kind of just started that process. All of those, Charles, Fair, and Willard, I believe, all have sewer stubs. So there's manholes at the end of each of those roads. So it must have been in the plan somewhere at some point in time. So kind of what we're here to discuss is, does it make sense to now start that push? Or do we just determine that that's an area that we'll only get it if the neighborhoods really want it?
Well, I'm okay if, at looking at grants, I don't think that's they do it thing.
And I know from the various environmental committees that I attend, in those meetings, E. coli is becoming a greater concern. And if it's coming from bad septics.
Yeah.
So I guess I would not be opposed to start taking a look at this.
And you know, that's kind of our concern too, is that should they determine that, and then they send out letters to all of these people that within a year you have to replace your septic system. So we want to be ahead of that so that if they get those letters, we can say, yeah, we've got money, we can install it in 2029 or whatever that date happens to be. But if we don't have a plan in place, then again, it's on all those individual property owners to fix their.
So why don't we send them a letter if they don't have a compliant septic? How come they don't get a letter?
That would come from the county, because they're the ones that do the septic systems. And I don't know, if some of them already have, and the county only requires you to do it at point of sale. So, again, it will be onesie twosies here and there throughout the community that at that time would have to, but still doesn't address the issue of the area as a whole is, again, potentially, because there hasn't been any actual testing to determine if there are contaminants coming from this area.
I think that the data has spoken. If there's no actual testing and E. coli can come from our animals doing their thing near a water source. I don't know that I could support an appetite for this. It's an expensive endeavor of $7.5 million for a few people that can spend 20 grand to put septic. I would, the only time that I would be in favor of this is if there's appetite from the homeowners themselves. And so if you want to start by sending out a letter to find out who would be interested, who would be willing to put that as an assessment on their property, because that's what this is going to come down to. Give them the real picture, and I wouldn't bluff anybody with a grant because we're not gonna get it.
Can I ask a question? That was what my question was how is it gonna be funded? And you're saying that it would fall to the property owner to have that. Because on West Calvary Road, that was they just put it through. And there were people I remember getting up and saying, I just put a mound system in and I asked if you were gonna do this. And it raised quite a bit of madness. People were angry and it was up to the homeowner. And just to get everything switched around. I didn't mind because I had a failing septic system and I had so much iron in my water, it was wrecking my dishwasher and stuff. But there were people that were very angry because they had already had a new system and.
Yeah, and to Tony's point, I can totally see that. If we're gonna do this, then I would hesitate to put a 2029 date on it, but I could see, you know, we get surveys done now. Who's interested? We're not gonna do it today, but we're looking maybe in 10 years.
And they
And
need
then-
to know if you're gonna charge them, you know, and then it was like, it went down, then you had so much time to hook up to the septic or
Yeah,
the sewer. And it was kind of a forced thing on some people. So that's what I was wondering, if they're
Yeah,
gonna do the
thank
same
you.
thing.
Yeah, thank you.
And it did break the bank for a lot of the folks.
Yes, it did, right.
Yes, it did. So I can see city staff's concern. We don't want to go through something like that again. But once again, I would want to know, do the residents support this? If they don't support it, then I'm not certainly excited to push it. And I, full disclosure, I live on one of these roads and I see everybody's utility rates getting up and up and up. And it's like, oh my goodness, it's a whole lot cheaper to pay 20 grand for a brand new septic than to pay $7.5
Well, you get the
million.
assessment of going by, plus you pay $100
Yeah,
a month
Exactly.
for water and
It's,
sewer or
it's
more.
exactly the cost
So, I mean,
benefit.
I'm just bringing up West Calvary because I went through that. And there was a lot of unhappy people about that.
Yep, thank you,
I'm
Sylvia.
okay with putting a survey out there to the people before we move on this.
Right, yeah, and
Well,
that's
yeah.
kind of why we put it on here, so we can start talking and get it out there in the open. because, yeah, we don't fully know. We have a meeting with the county septic guy, just to get a little bit more details on what information they have, just so we can see how many systems are actually failing. You know, maybe getting someone that can just doing an aerial view, looking at topography, you know, oh, yep, this one, you know, they could probably put a septic here. Cause what we really don't want is those properties who have a failing system have no alternate site. Technically, they can't live in their homes anymore.
Hmm.
So
May 13th.
May 13th is when our meeting is, okay. So yeah, we kind of want to just start those discussions and see, is it something, yes, that the public wants, knowing full well all of the ramifications. Cause yeah, if you say, hey, do you want, got a monthly utility bill and pay $20,000 in assessments, I would feel everyone would say no. But if, you know, the downside of, you probably can't sell your home unless someone pays cash.
Fine.
And nobody can get a mortgage on it.
You know, and the other piece, this is just the CIP. We're not locked into anything in here. It just leaves it open for discussion.
Yes, absolutely, understand that, but when we start putting dates in there and we start, I mean, anytime you make a list, it's gonna happen, right? You make your list at home, you go shopping, you're always gonna, you're gonna finish off your
I don't
list.
know about your budget, but that isn't.
You don't wanna trade it.
And we can certainly take the date out. My thought was just, that gives us, you know, 4 to 5 years to do some good research. Do some designing if it ever gets to that stage, get some potential grant funding. Cause I think what kind of happened with West Calvary, from what I've heard, was we gotta do it now. And figure out how to do it next year. We don't wanna be in that situation again, so that's why we want 4 years.
But I
Yeah,
can
to plan.
imagine surveys would take a little bit of time and then the grant funding and the development.
Right.
Well, cause what happens if the county or MPCA or something jumps in and find out that 3/4 of your septic system, your city or fail, what's gonna happen? You didn't plan. Of course, you know, everybody's available.
But it's my understanding
Then
that's.
you're stuck in the same situation.
Yeah, cause West Calvary was WSSD said,
Yeah.
you gotta come up with a different plan.
Right, but there was something of funds coming from Overstar that was supposed to happen. It was a verbal promise and it didn't happen. And that's why we don't go forward until we know we have.
Right,
money.
yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, one more question, but please, coming up.
Okay. I just was wondering, okay, so if we did put sewer and water there and they decided not to hook up at that time, we still charge a fee, do we not? From when I was sitting on utility committee, it was like if you didn't sign up, you still paid so much because it was available to you. So that would be also something that would have to be in, like, put in their letter and stuff.
You have to connect to sewer, you don't have to connect to water
Okay,
unless it's a new bill.
okay.
New houses then.
Yeah, cause I was just thinking about all the things that we went through on utility that we had to like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so council, at this time, it sounds like everybody is okay with this staying as it is. We are requesting for a letter to go out to these residents, to give them some really good information, worst case scenario, see what appetite there is, and then bring that back to the council and we'll discuss next steps. Is that okay with everybody on that one? Okay, we'll leave that on the list for now. All right, is there anything else? That is it. Do you need a motion for all these, Tony, or are you okay just making the administrative changes?
I think, yeah, I think you kind of have all, I've just been
Doing it as we
tracking
go?
it, yeah.
Okay,
If you guys are okay with that?
yes, all right, then, our Next is the meeting calendar. Our next month calendar, we have on the 7th, 6:30 PM, there's a community club meeting. I believe those are here. The 12th is council meeting here at City Hall, 6 o'clock. 15, Duluth Area Township Picnic. Oh, that's right. We're gonna try a rotating venue. We'll be at the Solway Town Hall, that's 4029 Munger Shaw Road in Cloquet. I hope you all can make it. 20th, 6 PM, Planning and Zoning. 6/21, there's May 21, 6 PM, there's a variance hearing for Dollar General. And 6:30 PM is the MIC meeting that Bob Quaid is part of. 26th is Memorial Day observed, and 27th council meeting. That's a Tuesday because it was pushed back one day because of the holiday. And that is it. Any additions or subtractions to the calendar?
Question, yes, that variance hearing, that's council?
I would imagine
Board of Adjustment.
Or
Board of Adjustment.
Yeah, that's the one board that has decision-making authority aside from you guys. It would not come to you unless somebody appealed it.
All right, I believe we're ready for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
All right.
Everyone, May 7th for the